So we'll open the session by inviting Dr. Deepak Mittal, Joint Secretary, CPV MEA, to give us a presentation on the subject of this plenary session.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister of State External Affairs, Honorable Secretary, distinguished panelists. Today's plenary session theme, as you all know, is Consular Services ensuring efficient, effective delivery by our Indian missions and consulates abroad. We have had this session, plenary PBD seminar, which was held on 29 March 2016, which was chaired by the Honorable External Affairs Minister, and we had distinguished panelists and experts coming from different parts of the world, and where there were a lot of recommendations made. In this presentation, we'll take you quickly through the areas which were discussed, the recommendations that were made, and the action, the work under progress, which is on various recommendations which were made at that session since last 10 months. Some of the broad issues that were taken up were the problems, the difficulties in deliveries of consular services by the Indian embassies and the consulates abroad, the OCI card related issues, issues about having access registrations with the Indian nationals with the Indian missions and the posts abroad, regulating the recruiting agents who were sending migrants abroad from India, enhancing assistance to the vulnerable section of the population in countries abroad, reforms in the attestation process and procedures in terms of verification of the documents which are required by the Indians abroad, whether for a job or for other mobility purposes. Then there was this, which has been also reflected in other plenary sessions, requests for voting arrangements, Aadhaar, and easier PAN card facilities for the Indian overseas. Then in the particular issue of the consular services by the Indian missions and posts, some of the points, recommendations which were particularly brought out were about having a good consular grievance redressal mechanism, having a consular services charter, the visa services rationalizing their categories, emergency visa facilities to be introduced, better facilities in the consular wings who service the Indian diaspora abroad, which can also be through enhancing more employment of the local staff in the Indian missions and posts. Some of the actions which have been taken as an action taken report in spirit of transparency and sharing it with all our stakeholders, which the government has taken in terms of consular services delivery, is the Madad, as was mentioned by Honorable Prime Minister this morning also. This Madad portal, which has been put online since February 2015 as a consular services management system. It provides, this is in the last 2 years, we have been able to successfully take it forward. We have currently about 60,000 registered users on this online platform. This, over the last 2 years, since February 2015, there have been over 16,000 complaints which were filed as a grievances in the different categories which needed to be addressed, which were from the remote parts of the country in India, by the Indians who were Indian diaspora abroad also. And I'm happy to share that over 10,000 of such complaints have been resolved. Still, I would say that there is a significant number which is there to be resolved, which are being taken up earnestly. Average time when we evaluated of how we have been able to use this platform, average time of redressal of such grievances through use of this platform is about 18 days, which by any grievance redressal mechanism, such online is a very fast on many of such things. There is, of course, more complex kind of grievances which needs longer period, which needs more documentation, legal processes and formalities in the countries abroad, which have to be factored in, which take a little longer time. We, in terms of other enhancing the consular services, As was also mentioned by Honorable Prime Minister this morning, is setting up of 24/7 emergency helplines in all our Indian embassies and the consulates abroad. Welfare officers have been designated in each of the Indian embassy and the consulate. They are holding monthly consular camps and open houses to listen to the grievances and addressing them and taking them forward. The service providers, in terms of difficulties in services which were felt by the Indian embassies, in 66 places, the services, consular services have been outsourced. There have been issues which have been brought forth by the community, diaspora, about the services being difficulties with the outsourced services also. Efforts have been made to make them more accountable and more transparent, which is a continuing process. In terms of strengthening our mission posts, the government has approved 500 posts for all our embassies and the consulates abroad, of a new post of employment recruiting, locally recruit employees, which can deliver, so that they have a further strengthened to deliver services. Consular services charter have been formulated and have been displayed online. On the OCI card related issues, some of the recommendations were the difficulties faced in obtaining an OCI card by the Indian persons of Indian origin, especially in the Girmitia countries. As was announced by Honorable Prime Minister today morning, the new procedures and documentations have been approved, beginning with Mauritius, for making it easier for issuance of the eligibility and issuance of the OCI card in the Mauritius, and this will be taken forward in other countries on such documentation procedures. There was, as Honorable Prime Minister mentioned this morning again, is the conversion of the PIO cards into the OCI cards. This has been extended, the deadline has been extended till 30th June 2017, which is without any penalty. And all are urged to move towards conversion of the PIO to OCI cards. If I may share in terms of statistics, as per the information which we have, since these two schemes were merged, we have successfully converted about 2 lakh PIO cards into OCI cards have been converted. We feel there are about some more which are there, which have PIO cards which needs conversion. So we hope that this can be done by 30th of June 2017. Of course, while doing this, issues have come up about procedural simplification for such conversions. Those have been looked into. Application procedure has been made online, and simplification of documentation in terms of only the requirement of a passport and a PIO card has been mentioned, so as to make the process simpler and easier for all our diaspora abroad. There were issues was about which have been made, and recommendations about making the need for making the renunciation process uniform, the fee structure, the penalties, and some sort of an amnesty, one-time amnesty in terms of renunciation process. In this context, we share that clear guidelines have been posted, have been established, have been posted on the websites of the Ministry of External Affairs and our missions. Some other issues on this same process is a work under progress, which are being looked into actively by the government. On the issues, recommendations related to the visa liberalization and simplification process, happy to share that the government has taken a number of steps in terms of e-tourist visa, which was introduced in November 2014. That has earlier this month, this has been further simplified. Now this e-visa facility would be available for tourism, for the business, as well as for medical treatment, for longer duration, more number of entries. I am happy to share that since its introduction, over 2 million e-visas have been issued, and which is a very successful indication of very successful run e-visa scheme by the government. As the government has also taken a new initiative as simplification of having 5-year multiple entry tourist and business visas to be given to most of the countries abroad. It has been introduced. Another new scheme initiative is about a permanent resident status to be given to the foreign direct investors. This has also been introduced by the government. This was an announcement made in last year's budget, and this has been implemented now. There is a new category of intern visas has been introduced in the visas. This amounts to, especially for the countries where we have larger Indian diaspora, there are larger number and intern visas to be issued so that the young Indians can come to India and can take internships in India. There was earlier in this plenary sessions, there have been recommendations also reflected about police registration requirement when a person is coming here. I'm happy to share that there's a process which is underway to make such registration processes online and not having the person or an individual go to the police station to do such registration. So we are hoping to, in 2017, to do such process, the online process to be implemented. As also the medical visas are being made more simpler and documentation requirements are being made easier for such visas to be granted. On the issue, on the recommendation regarding the registration and creating a sort of database of the Indian diaspora abroad, it has been, all Indian embassies and consulates have been asked to proactively register all the Indians abroad. As was also mentioned yesterday in the portal on the education plenary session, there's a portal has been introduced for students, online registration of the students, Indian students who are studying abroad, to map them where they are going. This is available, and more than 8,000 students have already registered on this portal, and we are hoping that these numbers, as was mentioned by Honorable Prime Minister today, which the numbers estimated is about 6 lakh Indian students studying abroad. We are hoping that more will come and register on this, and so that we have a central database. For a centralized database, a new portal which has been now made available to the Indian embassy and the consulates by the name Pratishthit Pravasi, so as to have all the details of all of you, all the Pratishthit Pravasis, to be available centrally with all Indian missions in the consulates and to the government of India back in Delhi as well. On the issue, on the recommendations and need which has been reflected on voting arrangements, Aadhaar and PAN cards, this was mentioned in the last plenary session also. These matters are under active consideration of the government. On the recommendation of need for regulating the recruiting agents, the action which has been also mentioned and will be discussed in more detail in subsequent plenary session on the immigration matters. There is an e-migrate portal which was mentioned today morning, is now fully operational. It is integrated with e-recruitment platform of the destination countries, and it is also being integrated with the online grievance redressal Madad portal. Through this platform, greater transparency and accountability has been established of the recruiting agents, and the safeguards have been introduced, especially for the recruitment of the female workers abroad, which can be, especially in the immigration check required countries. Government is also in advanced stages of drafting a new legislation to combat human trafficking, which is under the discussion with the stakeholders currently. Recommendations were also made with regard to a creative use of the Indian Community Welfare Fund. As you all know, the Indian Community Welfare Fund is meant to assist all overseas Indians in distress, in emergency situations. It has been used successfully in evacuation, repatriation, providing initial legal assistance, transportation of the mortal remains, boarding and lodging for the people in distress. These guidelines are being more made broad-based. On the recommendations regarding the reforms of the attestation procedures, it was mentioned yesterday that the Ministry of Human Resource Development that they are now implementing is a national academic depository portal, which will have a centralized portal of all the universities in India. All the educational documents will be available online, which will make the verification process easier. The Ministry of External Affairs itself has undertaken the use of online e-Sanad portal platform, and this has been also being used for faster verification of the documentation, as also the decentralization of this attestation procedure within the ministry. This is further decentralized to new cities in India, in Bangalore, Chandigarh, Goa, Mumbai, Trivandrum, so that the applicant doesn't have to come necessarily to Delhi to get them attested, but they can go to the respective home states, closer to home states, to get such attestations done. There was a recommendation on the need to rationalize the concurrent accreditation of the Indian missions. This comprehensive review has been undertaken based on these recommendations. I would like to mention that such decisions are reflected and guided by the overall bilateral relations, our trade and economic cooperation, and the presence especially of the Indian overseas. This has been done. Some more are under consideration. There was a recommendation on appointment of honorary councils, which is being done, and it is being such appointments is in active consideration in terms of the modalities. What would be the modalities for such appointments? On the recommendation regarding the promoting mobility of Indian nationals abroad, a committee has been constituted in the Ministry of Human Resource Development to look into the mobility issue, especially for mutual recognition of the qualifications, so that the students can easily go and study and work in different countries. In this regard, some agreements are being pursued with countries including France, Germany, and as also the European Union. Some other recommendations were about the need for institutional facility for overseas Indians in India, need for empanelment for more hospitals and medical checkups, especially for the migrating population. There was, as was mentioned, Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated the Pravasi Bharatiya Kendra on 2nd October last year in New Delhi. So the facility has been made operational and available to all Indian diaspora abroad while there's a home for them also in Delhi. On the issue of the empanelment of more hospitals, the Director General Executive Board of Health Ministers Council has been requested to empanel more hospitals for recognition of for pre-departure medical checkup for the Indian immigrants, so that it can be further facilitated. Also, this has been referred also in other sessions in terms of more communication and being able to articulate the initiatives of the government and to engage and talk to diaspora and publicize it. Certainly, as being mentioned today morning, also in other plenary session, social media and online platforms are being actively used by the government, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Google Hangout, the Overseas Development Fund, Overseas India Foundation, Mother platform, the mobile apps are being developed, have been developed and been launched. So such kind of use of social tool to engage, to communicate is being actively pursued based upon the recommendations which were made by the esteemed panel. These were some of the recommendations and the action we have taken, and we are hopeful to whatever has been further recommendations have been there, they are being progressed and action taken on them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deepak. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a session in which you have already heard as to what all actions we have taken. The eminent panel sitting on either side of the table, a lot of discussion was done, a lot of issues were pointed out. And one thing which I would like to ask you frankly, and don't hedge the reply, do you find a change in the way our consulates are dealing with population? Yes or no? Yes? Just raise your hands. Okay. Please put it down. So you already find a change that is happening. Let me assure you, more changes will occur. Today, each one in the ministry is ensuring that we become much more responsive where the consular services are concerned. And our consulates also have got the same mentality which the ministry has, that we need to look after our people who are in other countries. More improvements will come. Some of you may have had bad experience, I don't deny that. Some of you may in the future also find some individual who may have a different mindset. But these are all aberrations. And we will not talk of aberrations, we'll talk of general improvement. Now, a lot of things have been given out as to what the ministry has done in terms of further taking action on recommendations that were given by the panel. A lot of work has been done, a lot of work is being done. Now with that, we had asked you all if you have some questions which have come in writing to me. What I'll do is I'll ask our Secretary Dhaneshwar Mule to go through these, and where they require specific answer, which concern everybody. See, I'm not going to deal with individual problems. You have an individual problem, come back to me separately, I'll deal with them. But where issues are concerned, which concern everybody, we will discuss them here. If a solution has to be found, we will find a solution for you. And where expert opinion is concerned, we have the panel sitting here, and we will ask them to give suitable recommendation, a suitable solution, a suitable expert reply. Acceptable? Acceptable or not? Okay, thank you.
Can I ask KTA Munir from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, to ask his question? Please. Are you here? Please give him a mic.
Sir, I would like to ask the consular service in Saudi Arabia, especially they are a special issue. They come 20 years before to work over Saudi Arabia, and then they back, or then they come with the different passport, then having a slight changes in the names and date of birth, especially the date of birth. So now the digital India comes in true. They're all having the problems on the linking with the Aadhaar and bank account and e-property, all the things. So I would like to request in the consul department over there to special service to the to legalize in a true manner. This is the one question. And the secondly, for the welfare activities over the Saudi Arabia to have a different issue. So kindly manage to set up a legal cell for the legal, especially from the Saudi labor lawyers to be only handle the issue over there. So if you can jointly together with the consulate to issue on the labor issues and for their salaries and not getting, and they are not able to go back to the country. That there is a lot of issues over there, and due to this Hurub issues and all the things still are going on, but a lot of people are there. So I would like to request on address on this issue on the government basis and to make a mechanism over there. Another thing in the migration, which is you said already, to register everyone on the website. I would like to suggest that why don't you start to the linking with the immigration who are living from the departure time from India to migrate. You see, one of the guys coming to Saudi Arabia, new visa. So we can immediately to the immigration department to add on in our website. That will be a great thing. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Let me just first start with your proposal to set up the legal cell. Let me also inform you the embassy already has a panel of lawyers. The consulate also has a panel of lawyers. And what we do right now, we extend initial legal assistance. And I certainly understand there's a difference between extending initial legal assistance and follow-up legal assistance. The second part is a work in progress at our end. We are working towards it, and probably once those things are clear, we'll be able to help the Indian community more extensively. Regarding your suggestion on the issues related to passport, date of birth, dates, these things we'll examine in consultation with the mission, and we'll shortly revert on these matters. As regards the issue related to the opening of the consulate in Dammam, let me pass it on to my colleague Deepak. Probably he can better answer.
Opening of any new consulate, it's a decision we have to take in terms of the manpower constraints and other constraints we have. Nobody will be able to give you a reply now. We have noted your point. We will see what can be done, right? All that I would say is where the passports are concerned, basic changes cannot be fudged. You can't say today that today my age is so and so, tomorrow I've got Aadhaar which has got a different age, so change it. The database goes by what you deposit right in the beginning. Okay, so there are issues with that. We will take this point, we will examine it in detail, and what I would suggest is, if you can write it down and give it to us in detail as to what exactly is it that you want. I'll be grateful if you can give it by tomorrow to us, okay?
We have a question from President Gopio of Sri Lanka.
Thank you, gentlemen. We have a very specific problem. We have 1.6 million PIOs in Sri Lanka. They are all underprivileged and sometimes can't do enough of communication. So they keep coming back to us as the Gopio Sri Lanka office and get our assistance. One problem that we find is that during the troubles that we had over the last 30 years, there's been a lot of overstays in India of people who had come in as refugees. Now, when they go back, they can't come back here till all their files are cleared. So some of them are having very long periods of resolution. So if something can be done to assist that part and improve it, or put a special cell where we can write to, maybe we can assist with you to establish bona fides and improve the facility if possible. Thank you very much.
Have you given this problem to the embassy?
Yes, we have. We have addressed it to the
so
embassy.
Let me get back to them and find out, and we will find a solution to that.
Excellent.
Right?
Thank you very much, sir.
We have another question from Vishalakshi Vaidya, ex-president and ex-co-member, Kannada Sangha, Singapore. Ms. Vaidya is...
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity. Looking at the other problems and issues that are being surfaced, maybe this may look minor, my question, but however, I would like it to be addressed. I noticed that all the communications from the Indian High Coms, for example, in Singapore, they are sent to the respective associations and organizations, Indian organizations which are registered within the country. So can it be that the Indian citizens, the NRIs who are living there can get their direct communication, for example, about all these opportunities and the initiatives and the developments that are happening, which will link them back into the country, back into Singapore, I mean from NRIs in Singapore back to India. Whereas right now, unless the even the communication which comes to the association, I would say it's not much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As was mentioned, in terms of the communication with the Indian embassies and the consulates, there is now more proactive approach. As was mentioned just a while ago, everybody felt that there is certainly a difference in approach and communication of our embassies and consulates. They are reaching out through social media, through the use of website, online registration, monthly open houses, which is being done. And certainly, I'm sure you come from Singapore, and High Commission in Singapore would certainly be more sensitive and would be approachable to you in terms of dissemination of information.
Sorry, it's not being approachable. They are approachable. What I'm saying is proactive dissemination of information from the IHC to the Indians living there.
Yes, the information is the social media, use of social media tools, I'm sure that is increasing. But as you mentioned, we will, if that's still an issue, say in Singapore, I'm sure we'll be bringing it to the attention of the High Commission there. And if there are gaps, that would be addressed.
Yeah,
We have a new High Commissioner there. He'll address the problems, don't worry.
it's okay. So maybe we get that, can we register, all our details? That would help, I think. Thank you.
There is a question by Mr. Vizu Chako. May I just invite him for the question? Is he around?
Good afternoon, sir. This is a privilege. I am from Saudi Arabia. Two questions is in my mind. One is, nowadays there are a lot of people losing their job because, especially in the nursing section or lab technician like profession, those who are working in the hospitals, they have started work in the Saudi Arabia maybe 10 years or 15 years before, and they studied some institutions in India. Now they are asking for the certificate verification. So when they're approaching the colleges or institutions they studied in India, they are not giving reply. So many of them are losing job and some of them are getting in jail also because of this certificate invalid issues. So how can we solve that one? Because most of them are studied in some institutes in India or somewhere in the places. But after 10 years or 15 years, when the government is contacting the colleges where they studied, they are saying, no, we don't have any record of that one. So few of them, you may know that few of them already captured got in the jail, and many of them lost the jobs. And second issue, like I mentioned there, about the housemates issue, still the problems are still there. They are not able to solve. Every week we can see in the airport, the social working teams are bringing them from the jail or some other places and bringing them. Can you take a correct action for the recruiting of these housemates? It should be, because many of them are suffering a lot there. And one more question about that one, that's also certificate issue. Like many visa, we are not able to recruit because engineers visa, managers visa, marketing, MBA professional visa, because the visa has to be approved, the Saudi government or from embassy has to be approved, because it takes a lot of time to get approved. So how can you make it as fast, then only can be given more opportunity for the job. Thank you very much for
Mr. Chako, you have asked three things, right?
Yeah.
Taking the last one first, where the visa is concerned, are you looking at the Saudi visa or the Indian visa?
Saudi visa.
Saudi visa is done by the government of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Indian government has got no control over it.
No, my question.
Just a sec, please. It's a sovereign right of that country. Yeah. They may take 20 days. We can keep telling them. It takes time. It's something in which we cannot force them for anything. We are trying our best. We talk to the ambassador here to ensure things are done in the fastest possible manner.
Thank you very much.
Second thing, you had asked about the verification of educational qualifications and others. If you heard it yesterday, we are finding a permanent solution to this problem by creating a national repository which will have all the qualifications as a database from where anybody in the world can pick up and verify.
Thank you.
So you will have that done very soon.
Yes, very much. It's very good.
The last thing you wanted to know was on housemates. Yeah. I don't know what exactly is the information available with you. The government of India has taken a very clear decision. No lady or a woman worker less than 30 years will go outside the country. Second, women workers, whether they are being recruited for any job, will only go through agencies of the state government, agencies established by the state government, so that no illegal recruiting takes place. Thirdly, we are coming down hard on illegal recruitment because we still find that a lot of illegal, unscrupulous agents who are not registered are able to fool people by showing them a dream of what they will get abroad. And they take them on all kinds of routes. You will be surprised that a lot of these so-called domestic sector workers go on tourist visa. How they are going, I don't know.
That's true.
But a lot of them land up in a particular country on tourist visa. From there they go to another country, and from there they land up in the place where these people are taking them. We are taking action against them. With this condition that we have laid down of women workers less than 30 years will not go out. And second, as a policy, we have said that wherever we find a fault, we will charge those people for trafficking. That will ensure very strict legal action against such recruits.
Thank you very much. It's a good decision. Appreciate you for that one.
Good evening, sir.
There is two related questions, given the positive time, we'll be taking maximum of these last two, as will be last two questions. They are both related. One asked by Mr. Arvind Patil, civil engineer from Qatar. Can we pass the mic in the front, second row, please?
Good evening, sir. The first question is that the consular services are being taken outsourced to other companies, and now the passport, when we go for the renewal, takes 5 working days in any embassy. I'm referring to the Qatar, but now after outsourcing this would take 10 days. Number one. Number two, the increase in the cost will be there at the time. And most of the Indian workforce is there in Qatar. Most of them are the workforce. And that would cost them a bit more than what it is. If it was the embassy will charge the actual charges, whereas the cost will be more for the outsourced companies. And third, yes, the legal cell. We in Qatar embassy, we do not have a legal cell. With legal cell, what I mean is we want a local lawyer who can help us, because there are lots of cases pending in the court. Maybe it's a dispute between worker or maybe a company. So we need one labor from the embassy, from the mission. We need one lawyer to represent these cases. These are my 3 questions, sir.
Thank you. To respond to that, maybe we'll take the second question also, which is quite related to it. This is from Mr. Jutas Paul, General Secretary, ICC Qatar.
First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity. And also I would like to take this opportunity to express our gratitude to Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj ji for the wonderful support she's been providing to all the NRIs. And on behalf of all the PBD attendees, we wish her speedy recovery from her illness. My question was related to the same question. In Doha, in Qatar, Indian Cultural Center, an apex body of all the Indian organizations in Qatar, which is apex body of Indian Embassy in Qatar, has been doing certain consular services, been providing certain consular services in Qatar. Now, since the outsourcing is happening, this will be going to a private company. Instead, our humble request is to keep it with ICC, which will continue to do the other services which is not provided by ICC as well, through ICC with the social commitment. Thank you.
Thank you for both the questions. Actually, a lot of times when I sit in chairing a panel discussion like this, I do find that we actually go off the actual subject. Don't mind my saying that, but we go off the actual subject, and there are a lot of problems which are more typical which come up. Now, all our ambassadors in the Gulf are here. What I would suggest is, if you have a peculiar issue concerning that particular embassy, do talk to them. They are here, and we will still find time to connect back to you to tell you as to what we are going to do, right? Where the question on the cultural center is concerned, where outsourcing is concerned, let me give you my personal views. Outsourcing of the services, wherever we have done, it has brought out better results. Efficiency is increased. There is no connect to the embassy where somebody can say, so-and-so has asked me for money or something. It is just that agency which is concerned, which is being monitored by us. And most of our embassies and consulates, when they outsource, they look at the price tag, the minimum price tag at which it is given, provided the services are good. So, it allows the embassy staff, see, after all, we don't have unlimited staff. We have got a very restricted number of people out there. We find that outsourcing has helped most of our consulates. You have a view, we will look into it, and maybe if we find that there are problems, we are open to amending things the way they are, right?
Hello, good evening, sir. Good evening. Yeah, my name is Hari Prasad from Gulf. Thank you, Mr. Singh ji. You are doing a good job, especially come for the Middle East people. And small issues also we are bringing to your attention, and we are getting the resolution. But is working good. Ambassadors are good, working good, and we can't blame them. But the thing, if you look overall, Saudi Arabia issue is a big issue, because oil price is going down. Every employee, every labor in Saudi Arabia was being trained by ISO certified big companies, and they have been working for last 10 to 20 years. When they lose the job, when they're coming back to India, and we are not using them properly, again they are approaching by some of the agencies, and they are going to different countries. That is the one thing we have to seriously look how we can bring back that people and use properly. That is a very good strength for India. What we all see that India is growing. That is one thing. And second thing, still we are sorry to say, still we are fighting to get our dead bodies from Saudi Arabia. There are few gentlemen social workers are here. One gentleman called Nayaz. He was working every day, whole day his work is only to go to the mortuaries to identify the mortuaries.
May I just interrupt you, please? We were discussing consular services. You have got specific problems of Saudi Arabia. I'll just deal with all the problems that you are talking of Saudi Arabia. Please sit down.
Okay, thank you.
Let me just talk only about Saudi Arabia, where people are concerned who are losing their jobs because of the companies not doing well or not being able to pay. We have gone to Saudi Arabia, requested their ministries, and ensured that the government of Saudi Arabia pays for their return back to India. You do not have an example like this anywhere in the world. They have paid for their return. It was personally brokered by me, where Saudi Arabian government says that we cannot pay, the government of India is paying for the return of these individuals. We have also, in conjunction with the government of Saudi Arabia, ensured that we take suitable legal documents by which whenever that company is capable of paying and whenever arbitration takes place and the money comes in the name of the employee, it will be collected by the embassy and remitted to the individual who has come back to India. So let's have no fear on that account. Thirdly, where you're looking at jobs for all these people who have been uprooted. You know what the job market in India is. And looking at this job market, our Prime Minister had started certain schemes which are available in all the states. The central government has told all the states, you utilize these schemes so that these people can be rehabilitated. Where it is not happening, I would suggest we talk to the states. If your state is not delivering on these promises, then please come back to us so that we can talk to the Chief Minister concerned. Okay? You spoke of the dead bodies. We generally generalize things. Each country in the world has its own rules. In India also, you have certain rules where investigation or inquiry is concerned if something happens. In Saudi Arabia, it takes time. So let's not say that they are not releasing the body. They have to go through that procedure. We are concerned about it wherever delay takes place, but we do not want a person's mortal remains to come back if a case is not settled and if the family has to get certain dues from that company or individual or wherever that individual was working. So it takes time. And believe you me, every day we get enough people who come to us from various areas of India telling us that the body or mortal remains of a person are stuck out there. We make all efforts, but then you cannot break the rules of that country. You just cannot say today is died, tomorrow we can transport. It doesn't happen. Because there are certain procedures involved. So let's have a little patience, and I'm quite sure things will be settled.
Good evening, sir. I've submitted the...
We have got limited time. You have got individual issues, you come back
No, it's
to
not
me.
an individual issue. I've already submitted the question. I'm from Dubai.
So that I am responding to that. We have a number of common questions received particularly for the Gulf countries and Malaysia. We are all compiling it and will be perhaps putting these replies suitably either on our website or in some other format. In case you wish to give them along with your email, please submit them to Dr. Deepak.
Like I
Mittal.
said, we have already got the ambassadors from Gulf and Malaysia present here. You have an issue, please tell me, I'll call them here and we can discuss
It's
separately.
not just two things only, because we have been raising this issue for many years regarding the ICWF fund. Because ICWF fund is distributing according to the certain norms, which is formed by the, always we are getting the answer from that. They need an approval from the external affairs or foreign affairs. So it should be, decision has to be taken by, the government of India. So there are, that the systems have changed. There are a lot of issues facing by the NRIs. So this should be this norm should be restructured.
I think we are aware and is being reviewed. So,
At least, please listen is what we want to say that, because this
Please
is a privacy.
quickly,
We are coming here for, just
no.
to say our issues in
I
front
know,
of
but
you.
in the
This-
interest of time,
at least
please,
you have to see the
please be
patience to
short.
listen. And there is so at least to try to restructure the norms according to the current situations, issues facing by the NRIs. This is one thing. And second thing, there is a renewal of ECR passport. Of course, we know that everyone is coming, if he is coming outside, going outside the country, they have to get an immigration clearance. But some people are going visit visa and getting a job. They're working there, stamping the visa and going for a vacation and coming back again. And after 1 year, but it should be
What is
before
your
3
question,
years.
sir?
For
What
the
is your
renewal
question?
of the passport, now the consulate in Dubai especially, we are, a lot of people are approaching us. I'm a lawyer and I was the paneler of the Indian consulate also before 10 years.
May I
worked as a-
suggest our
Okay.
ambassador from Dubai is here, UAE is here. Please, discuss with him and take it through him. Thank you so much. Please sit down. Now, I will, with your permission, Chair, sir, I'll request our panelists to just see if they have any fresh ideas which we can take.
I'll request our panelists, we have discussed these issues in great detail, where the consular services are concerned. A lot of suggestions you had given, some of them are already implemented, some of them are in the pipeline. If you want to add anything, you're most welcome. Anything which is substantive.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thanks General V.K. Singh Saab and Sushma Swaraj ji, who spent so much time on the issues of consular services. So one thing that came up within the last 8 months is about the inheritance of property by the OCI cardholders. That is like second and third generation people. So we had a discussion with Deepak Mittal ji earlier, and he said that it is work in progress. So that, but I would like to register that as an issue that NRI community is looking forward to hear from the government.
Good evening, and thank you very much, Minister. And I want to say from my side, just like our Prime Minister is approachable by social media and directly by many way, same way I personally feel as like our Indian Embassy is more approachable. As a professional, I am working with many other countries' embassy and things. I personally feel Indian Embassy is more approachable. In Canada, we give suggestion, and currently we have a open platform for anyone can meet to our local consulate general on one day a week. So thank you very much. And one thing I want to, in last March meeting also we suggested about a pre-citizenship surrender certificate. And that's a process if done from ministry will be very good to make OCI application very easy. So before anyone get the citizenship of another country, before they have a pre-citizenship surrender process, that will be helpful. Thank you.
Good evening, General. Good evening. Definitely, we have seen a lot of change compared to what was in previous years. The response from embassy and consulate is really improving a lot. And quite a few suggestions have already been implemented, so thanks for that. One thing, instead of telling here, I would like to tell all of us that these 24/7 emergency officers which were there also working and some other are coming in, let's not misuse them. We have been getting complaints where people just call that number to ask some silly question or some question which can be dealt in the daytime, and people ask like night 2 o'clock and all that. So let's be considerate to them as well. Thank you.
The first thing I want to say is that we have now a very large and complex diaspora. It is multi-layered and the issues are at multiple levels. The amazing thing that we have for the Indian diaspora is really a country that is so engaged with its diaspora. I can't think of any other diaspora that has a similar type of connection. And this is something that should be applauded. Now, one of the steps that we have taken is, or we have tried to put out is really to deal with the most vulnerable sections. About 1/3 of our diaspora is made up of workers, laborers, and these are very vulnerable group. And I think some of the steps that are taken are now going to show fruit, but I think a few more things need to be done in this direction. Now, I think today the Prime Minister said or spoke of skills development and educating some of these workers to really connect directly with employers and not work through some of the problematic agents. I think we need to carry on with this because they're losing too much of their salary. And I see this even in Singapore. The steps that we are taking, it's improving their position. That I hope will continue. Thank you.
We caught up last year and we gave our set of recommendations, ideas, opinions, and I would like to congratulate you all on an excellent job done and how you all gave us on the work being carried out. I think there's, besides the brickbats, the bouquets are also in order. So I would once more congratulate on a good work done. You all have raised the notch, you all have raised the game. And in fact, the only negative point which I can find is people are not aware. I think we need to market the good work done by the embassy. And I would wish you all the best in the future. Thank you.
My name is R.M. Parak. I have one suggestion which I gave in the last panel meeting. It was concerning to the fund which has been collected by the local embassies throughout the world. Now these funds are being collected for the welfare of the people. If we can bring more transparency to this utilization, we can involve some prominent people locally in disbursement of these funds and utilization of the funds. It will be more useful and it will bring good results. Second thing, I just would like to thank Honorable Prime Minister, Sushma ji, for bringing this new concept. I've been outside 40 years. I've never ever seen like this kind of a concept, a new system which has been evolved, involving grassroots people into discussion and policy formulation. And the ministry has implemented most of our suggestions. Very nicely, good work done, and many, many thanks to Sushma ji, General Saab, Mule Saab, and everyone here. Thank you very much.
My name is Ashok Mago from Dallas, Texas. I just want to share with you what our new Consul General, Dr. Anupam Ray, has done in the last 6 months. He is holding visa camps on regular basis on all the major cities where there is a concentration of Indians. His officers are working on the weekend without pay so that they can approve the applications before it goes to this outsourced company. And once they have approved it, then things move very fast. So I want to commend him and his officers, because I don't know how many of us will give our weekend helping our fellow citizens and not being paid also. So maybe, General, you can look into paying these officers if they are working on a Saturday or Sunday. I think they deserve it. We want to help them, but the Consul General said, no way, you guys can't do anything. Thank you.
I'm Selva from Kuala Lumpur. I think we all agreed, Minister, that your ministry has transformed, which is not just said for complimentaries. We have seen it, the transformation. I just now all said that, which is true. What has happened with these kind of changes, you have created a dynamic that we are trying to catch up also. You asked for some portal, some data and all that. We are not yet ready, but we appreciate it well. Now, I like to keep on to one item, PIO card or OCI card. It is now in operation for 10 years plus. We are about 30 million people. Our request for OCI card or PIO card last time was that we would like to see the mainstream of the community, the diaspora community, part and parcel of this green card mechanism. Today we understand we have about 12 lakh. 12 lakh is 1.2 million of the 30 million. Obviously, the mechanism is not working really. You want to go by all legalities, we understand. Home Ministry's problems, security and all that, we understand. And today it was mentioned that Mauritius, the declaration, the immigrants' documents are there, well documented, all right. They have it, MGI. And it's going to be used as a trial basis. Good. This was never possible in the old India. In the present changing ministry, you are bold enough. But I think you need more. Because I don't have what Malaysia doesn't have what Mauritius has documented properly. So we have to find more. One of the we mentioned, do look for it. We call it ombudsman. Ombudsman functions even in the real legal world also. They get messed up, they go to an ombudsman. Here, we are asking for ombudsman with the High Commissioner of India in that specific country in charge and with some 1, 2, 3, 5 local people of luminaries there. Look into it. Not guarantee for clearing. Most of it, they will clear it. I think that's for speed up of the PIO card for Minister. We will keep lobbying you for this. Please be patient with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Minister, and through you to the Government of India for this new concept of diaspora meetings, action-oriented, result-driven. And we met in March, this panel. 9 months after, you have given birth to remarkable results. announced by the Prime Minister this morning. So your team, headed on one hand by Mr. Mulai, other hand by yourself and Sri Sushma Swaraj, we are very happy that you are using Mauritius as a model for the issue of the OCI card, because it's not easy, not only in Mauritius, but in many other countries, to have the nativity certificate and also to trace the place of origin of the Girmati from India. So this is a good job that you are doing. And then also we've heard about the establishment of consular services. You're doing it for India in large countries of the great cities, but the same thing should happen here in India. We have our mission established in Delhi. As far as Mauritius is concerned, we have 3 consulates in Chennai, Calcutta, and Mumbai, because these were the places from where our ancestors came to Mauritius. But now you have great centers of business and commerce, Bangalore being one of them, Lucknow, from where most of our people came, Patna, Bihar, and other places like Hyderabad, like Baroda. The first bank in Mauritius, pre-independence, was from Baroda. So I think we should consider allowing our countries to open consulates or consular, even honorary consular services there. And we have, for example, applied for one in Lucknow, so we are waiting the decision of the government of India thereon. So thank you very much indeed, and God bless all of you. Thank you.
Being the last speaker, I'd like to keep it as simple and short and sweet as well. Having said that, I must compliment the MEA not for anything else, but for timing the session on the second day at a convenient time. It used to be on the third day, half an hour before the Saman awards have to be given. Officers used to be under pressure. We used to more or less have an argument in a small room and walk out. For the first time, I can see it in a proper hall, proper setup, and the panelists are there, and the people from the MEA are there to answer politely, and very good way of dealing with public. Having said that, it's not just we compliment them. During the meetings, we have had fights, we have had arguments, we have walked out heatedly, and then we have come back to make sure things happen. So, we have both blow hot, blow cold situation. Couple of items which I would like to highlight for the benefit of the audience who might be knowing whether it is included in the request or not. One of them is obviously everybody's concern is the legal panel for the Gulf. I hail from Dubai, so I can tell about it. There is a requirement which is urgent, and in fact the Honorable External Affairs Minister last meeting confirmed that an okay has been given to the embassies to hire a local law firm, because it is mandatory for them to represent in the court of law in Dubai and other countries in the Gulf. So that's a priority item. The IWRC is, and again, something needs to be looked at, where it is located in a particular town, where it's convenient for the labor to approach, because eventually they have to come to the consulate. So we strongly recommend and suggest that they locate themselves in the consulate itself. There's enough place now, having outsourced most of the other services. So the reply can be more easy. It's only single window clearance, not just for business, but for labor as well. Similarly, the ICWF, it's the 5 objectives which have been the original objectives. Even among the 5, one we still do not know how exactly it is being done, which is the legal assistance. So we need to look at it more closely, as we have spoken in the meeting, and should come up with covering more areas of requirement, because there are nearly enough and more funds are available. I wouldn't want to go into the numbers, but definitely there is enough money for us to support the fellow diaspora when in need. The journalists approached me asking for certain privileges and that they get in India as a journalist, which are not extended to the journalists who are working abroad. So I will again take it up separately on the point. So journalists know that the point has been mentioned, so we'll take it up in our meeting. With that, without taking much time, I'd like to wholeheartedly thank, I've been attending 10 out of the 14 PBDs, and I find this PBD, a new page has been turned. It's so refreshing, and I look forward for the continuance of the same. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, panel. We are more concerned about the brickbats and not bouquets, do throw them to us. We will ensure that we bat properly and find solutions to whatever you throw at us. All I can say is that whatever concerns you have, if you feel that they have not been addressed or not looked at seriously, do send a mail to us, you will get an answer. I can assure you that. And let me thank each one of you for being here for this session. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank the Honorable Minister for having chaired this session. And now we'd like to felicitate all the participants and to do the honors, Mr. Deepak Mittal and Mr. Manish Gupta. So would the ushers please come up on stage? A group photograph, please. So if you could please all come up to the front of the stage. Everyone's very keen to have a group photo of this session. Thank you. Thank you very much. In just a couple of minutes, we'll go on to our last session for the day, partnering with Diaspora to accelerate